Hi and welcome to Glow Within. My name's Katie and today we're going to be talking about fascia. Fascia is the tissue that allows us to move, helps us hold our structure, and allows for independent movement of parts of our body. We have three different layers of fascia: our superficial, which is our skin; our deep fascia, which is like our bones, our muscles, tendons, etc. And then we have our visceral fascia, which is our organs. We have 12 different fascial lines, which is very interesting. This was, I guess, sort of pioneered by Tom Myers of Anatomy Trains. And it helps to explain why we move as we do and why we hold sort of tension in our body as we do and how it connects to other areas of our body. So maybe this is a bit of a trigger warning, but when dissection was done before, they were looking at sections of the body. Whereas Tom Myers decided to look at the body and see the sort of sinewy tissue. So like when you have a chicken, you'll see that there's that sinew sort of wrapped around it. That's fascia. So he took fascia and followed the fascial lines to see how they travel throughout our body, and that's where he discovered the 12 lines of fascia. So our fascia really requires us to have healthy fascia. We need to be moving, we need to have lots of water. You'll notice when you wake up in the morning, you might feel very stiff. This is because our fascia hasn't been moving. So it's really good to have a little warm up, like I've shared in my morning meditation, to help your body wake up and start to move. Maybe you notice you have a stiff back. I think that's a pretty common one. So to sort of explain our fascia, it's like we have one of my teachers, Lucy St. John, she did a great example where it was licorice, so like Twizzlers, wrapped up in saran, and then there was a bundle of those Twizzlers wrapped together, and they were wrapped up again in more saran wrap, etc., etc. So it allows for that independent movement of our muscles and our body parts. Fascia, if you want to do a great experiment with your children, and I've shared this on Instagram, get cornstarch and water and you'll be able to see how fascia moves. It's really quite cool. So when you push into the fascia, it melts around you. This is sort of how it works when we use something like a dowel or a myofascial or physio ball. So when we place the physio ball in the soft tissue, we never want to place it in on a bone or in a hard spot. But when we place it on the soft spot and it sits for at least a minute, this is the principle behind yin yoga, our fascia starts to liquefy. When we slowly move the fascia or the cornstarch mixture, it slowly releases. This is what we do or practice in craniosacral. This is how we gently touch someone's body and they can have incredible release. It's really quite amazing to see. When we hold the fascia or our cornstarch and pull it fast, it doesn't really move. It kind of springs back, which is quite interesting because that's the same as when you're doing like a quick stretch and then it just snaps back. We need to hold it and move it gently. Really interesting experiment to do with your children too. So as a mom, and this is where I was getting to, as a mom, we tend to, especially if you're nursing, we're holding children, we're holding probably crunched over. Maybe you're holding children on a hip and it's probably the same hip most of the time, probably your non-dominant side, so that you can use your dominant hand to do other things like pour coffee, etc. We're sort of overusing some areas of our body. So our deep front line or our front fascial line, superficial line, can get condensed or contracted when we're always in a holding position, if we're holding a baby, etc. And when that happens, that actually signals to our body that we're in a sympathetic state. So we end up with shallow breathing. So to help release the front or the deep front fascial lines, opening up through our chest, maybe even doing a nice little back bend, reaching our chin all the way up to the ceiling, is really, really beneficial. And taking some nice slow deep breaths. So breath along with our release of the fascia is really powerful. So you can do some gentle openings like this, or if you do cat-cow as part of your practice, or even an inhale and exhale and really make it slow and hold it, that can be very powerful. Another great one with the myofascial ball or physio ball is to release in your pecs. So you can do this against a wall, or if you want a bit of a deeper sensation, you can lay down on the floor with this on your pecs. I did this all the time when I was nursing. Well, I still am, I guess, but I did it a lot at the beginning in particular because I had a lot of tension there. When we're nursing and holding our children, we can also cock to one side, as I mentioned, which can impact our spiral line, which sort of crisscrosses all the way up our body, and our lateral lines, which go down one side of the body and then down the other side of the body and create imbalances. So some ways that we can release it are by doing side bending stretches. One of my favorite poses is called Banana Asana. It's a yin pose where we're creating the shape of a banana or a crescent moon by laying down on our back, and then we bring our feet over to one side and our hands over to that same side with our hips to the other side. So we're creating the shape of the crescent moon. Our shoulders and hips are laying on our back completely. You can also use the ball in the soft upper glute area. So that's a really great one to help release. So when we do this work, we're also sometimes releasing emotional patterns that are stored or connected with those fascial lines. And that's what myofascial meridians is all about. If you'd like a bit of a deeper dive into this, you can check out the Myofascial Meridians course on the Glow Within app. And of course, leave any comments, questions. I think it's really such an interesting topic, and what craniosacral, which I practice, is all about. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions. It's fascinating. Our bodies are really amazing. Anyways, have a lovely day, and I look forward to chatting again.